Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party. I'm my buddy Rhett, and we just got done with our voice API application. I do say all the time I wish I had Cypress working over on that one. I um, think it's really cool, and I think it would be fun to have working. Um, so we are trying to get. We have discovered a problem, and that is that when you click once, works fine. And then you click the second one, and it doesn't work fine. And the reason it doesn't work fine is because we have, um, oh yeah, this works a lot easier when that is closed. Inspect, because our app visits are sitting right on top of each other. So, and for some reason, the second one never got it. And so this bug kind of slipped through because if you click a third time, you get the second one. And so what happens is you think, oh, I didn't click it. And so I would say on this code, I would I would imagine that for every hour I've spent coding code to get the application working, I've spent two, maybe three, probably 2 hours writing tests for the code. And I would also say that, well, maybe I caught it because I saw stuff while I was, because while you're writing tests, you're trying things and stuff. Maybe that's why I caught it, but I don't think so. But all those tests, none of them, they're all passing. None of them caught this. Um, Now, is it possible to write a test that would catch this? Yes. Is there? Is it also possible to sit around and think of 1,000 other kinds of things that could go wrong and write tests for that? Yes. Would that be a good idea? I don't think so. I think that is the sort of the process that leads companies to the point where every time I've ever worked in a place where we had end-to-end software, we had what do I try to say? It took hours, hours and hours and hours to actually write to actually run the end-to-end tests, and they were very, very fragile. They broke all the time for no good reason. Uh, like many times you'd run it and then 10 minutes and it would fail, and then you'd run it again and then it would pass, stuff like that. And I think that that is what happens is you start trying to think of every, like, something gets through all your tests. You're like, I spent all this time, all these resources on tests, and it didn't catch this. Okay, we need to double down. And it's just like, it's probably not a good idea. So anyways, I have my test going, and I've decided I want to create a new test to catch this specific issue. Um, Now, I do not want to sit around and just try to think of a million different tests to write. I just want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So I named it Viz Spacings. So this is the suite that I want to put all of anything that is concerned specifically with spacing. So there's a bit of a overlap in resize because resize does check to see where something was spaced out, but it's more, it wants to check the spacing after um, a specific thing has happened. So I think that's okay to have that one. So I don't think I have anything in my spacing. I might though. Yeah, so it basically we just have the default. So I think the one thing that I've really liked, um, that's made me really happy, I just sort of blundered into it, is this wait time. Um, so, and it looks like I like to, do I always say it passes? It passes. Okay, so that's the default. Um, so, mm, so what did I do for template spec on the other ones? Viz component. Okay, viz spacing.
Wow.
I don't really understand what this is for. It's probably one of those things that like presents itself fairly obviously once you've been using it for a while. And so I know that I do like, let's go to our simplest one. Oh, so I don't have a timing on this one. I don't have a timing on this one. I don't think timing matters. I think, yeah, wait time will matter. It probably doesn't matter at the beginning, but I'm going to put it in there anyways because I like it a lot. It looks like you put it, I put them right at the beginning of the it. What does this say? It's our expectation. But this is for Jasmine, so I don't even know. That is wrong. Um, okay, and so then I think we want to do something along the lines of this. So we basically want this test. And then, but we want to click it twice. And I think we can do like this. And oh, so this is probably where it'd be good to have the wait time. Because I don't, like, you can't really tell that something happened without the wait time. And I think all you do is wait time. And so we're going to do this. We're going to run our new test. And then we're going to do something very much like what we did in, yeah. See, so we would expect to have two of them, and we do have two of them, but we don't, it's not working. So we have another test in resize where we actually check to see the position of something. So we have this app biz equal 4, but we want equal to, and it should have a left of 200, and this should fail. And I don't really understand all this stuff because I just kind of copied it, but it does, it's much clearer to me now. So, you know, with time, it'll become more and more just comfortable. I just am dumbfounded that this is not just absolutely the hottest technology around. And honestly, like while I think it is great for testing, and I don't have any sort of like, you know, I think it's great. You know, like literally, like I couldn't feel any better about it, about testing. I think it's so, like, you know, like we had a build where I work on Thursday, and we were like, okay, we're going to do this build, and then we're going to click around and try different things and make sure that everything works. And it's just like, you know, like, let's just smoke test it. And so we're just manually just clicking around, making sure it works. And it would be really nice if there was like an end-to-end test that would just run, you know, that we could just push the button and just watch it run locally and just make sure that nothing weird is broken. But anyway, so we have a failing test, which is what the goal was. And now what I would like to do is figure out why the heck our application is not moving that. Like there's, and one thing I do want to say, and I think is super important to to think about this, is all we did, maybe we did some other stuff, but I don't think so. All we did was move code around. We just took code that was in the app, component and we moved it into its own component, and that's it. And we moved some stuff into services, and that's it. That's all we did. We just moved stuff around, and now it's broken. Because a lot more is happening. Like a ton of stuff is abstracted away from you, and you don't really ever need to understand it until you need to understand it. And it is harder. Like when I delivered pizzas for a little bit. So in the 1980s and the 1990s, I delivered pizzas for about 10 years and made a living at it. I do not think you can make a living at it today, at least not where I live. And there was like a lot of skills you had to have then that you didn't. So, like one skill, like in 1986, when I first, maybe it was 1985, when I first started delivering pizzas, I worked with lots of people who could not read and could not write, like or could not do arithmetic. They were able to do the job because they could drive to the place, but they could not read. They couldn't read even at like a first grade level, and they couldn't do arithmetic. But then like what happened is like in the 1990s, everything started getting computerized, and basically you had to know how to read. There was just no way. There were definitely a few people who couldn't do arithmetic, but they all knew how to read. And then but there was like a lot of skills that you had to have. Like you had to really be able to remember where a lot of places were. You had to remember just all kinds of things. There was just all these little skills. You had to be really good at remembering to get all like your sodas and things like that. They've computerized 99% of that away. Like you don't have to remember anything. You get your stuff and it's very clearly laid out everything you need to get. You need to get these sodas, you need to get these breadsticks, and blah, 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 blah. Like all that stuff is all taken care of for you. And then even you get in your car and the GPS takes you exactly where you need to go. And interestingly, so back then, other than on the military bases, you never had like more than 4 layers deep from a major road in neighborhoods. And now there are neighborhoods that are 14, 15 street deep. You go left on this street, right on that street, left on this street, and then through to that street, and you literally go 14 because there's no way the human brain is gonna remember all those steps. But now with the fact that everybody uses GPS to get everywhere, it doesn't matter. So you get a lot of depth, but everything we needed to know how to do then as a pizza delivery driver, you still need to know how to do it. You just only do it very rarely, and you only do it in very extreme cases. And so it's kind of like you still need to do all that stuff, but you have a lot less opportunity to learn it. That's kind of like how Angular works. You still, like, you do need to understand that, like, when you move code from one component and into a lower component, yeah, all that stuff sort of abstracted from you, like, or you move code out of a component into a service or something. Like, there's a lot of stuff happening under the cover, but that you don't understand, and you have to, and you don't need to understand it until you do. And then when you do, it's very, very difficult because when would you have ever learned it? And the times you need it are in the more extreme times. But anyway, so now we have some subtle change that has made it to where when you hit that button, some code that was firing in certain steps is now no longer firing in those steps. That's my guess of what's happening. And I'm pretty sure, like, in my last video, there was some sort of weird routing thing, and I was like, there's a possibility that it's like some weird Angular stuff that Angular's doing, or there's a possibility that it's some code that I wrote. And I would say that in that case I said it's probably 98% chance that it's my stuff, 2% chance that it's Angular stuff, and it's just not worth figuring out. Well, in this case, it is worth figuring out. And I would say, I think it's a 98% chance that it's Angular, some weird idiosyncrasy inside of Angular, and a very low chance that it's some kind of code change that I made that broke it. I don't think any of my code changes broke this. I think moving code around and then the way Angular wires things up is probably what broke it. Now, this is that rare opportunity to learn that thing that you don't need to know until you need to know it. So I am definitely going to take my time and fully understand what's going on before I. So there's that. But anyway, so we have a test. We know we expect this. The second. Oh well. So it's not supposed to be top. It's supposed to be left, and I believe it's 200. So we were about to do all that and then get it working and then be like, why is the test still broken? And that's because it was looking for the second one to be down here, not over here. But once we have this test working, we'll never have to worry about this again. Will it make sure that the third one works? No. Right? So like it won't test that the third one is where it belongs. It's not going to test where the fourth one is where it belongs. It's just going to test for the second one. And then if we ever need that test, we'll write it. But I'm not going to write 100 tests that don't, for things that may never happen. And if they do happen, I want to know that they happen. I don't want the test to just start breaking and then like me not ever realize, oh crap, I need to write that test. I want to go through that process. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Bye.